Hold on tight, Bears News Fan Report fam, because what I'm about to share could reshape everything we thought we knew about Chicago's off-season roadmap. But first, before the revelation hits, take a moment to slam that like button and subscribe to Bears News Fan Report. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single update as this story unfolds. Now, imagine you're sitting in Halas Hall, poring over the most coveted targets for a team desperate to elevate its aerial attack. The whispers started innocuously enough. A top executive from a powerhouse franchise mentioned that one of the league's most electrifying playmakers might be on the move. Could it actually happen here in the Windy City? Is it possible that the Bears, fresh off a rebuilding year, are on the brink of luring a generational talent to Soldier Field? Think back to last season, when our passing offense sputtered more often than we'd like to admit. The quarterback, talented but young, had flashes of brilliance yet lacked the elite weapons to consistently stretch defenses. Several occasions saw Bears fans groan as coverage units collapsed on tight ends and running backs, daring our signal caller to find windows that simply weren't there. But what if I told you there's chatter that the front office quietly targeted? A game-breaking wide receiver, someone whose speed alone can turn a short slant into a 60-yard sprint to the end zone? Remember the names tossed around for mid-season trades? Some insiders hinted at a blockbuster that would send shockwaves throughout the division, though no concrete details ever surfaced. Now, fast forward to this week's bombshell report. The Bears are reportedly in play for a receiver whose mere presence on the roster could transform the entire offense. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's unpack how we got here. Over the past 2 drafts, Chicago's brass has focused on bolstering the defense and fortifying the offensive line. They spent premium capital on edge rushers and interior blockers, hoping to build a wall for our young quarterback to operate. Yet, despite those moves, the lack of a bona fide number 1 target in the receiving corps remained glaring. Quarterback-coach rapport improved, rookie skill players flashed promise, and yet the playlist of highlights mostly featured scrambles and checkdowns. Imagine, then, the sheer game-changing potential of adding a player consistently ranked among the league's best afterburners. Was this the same receiver who torched defenses from one sideline to the other, posting multiple 1,500-yard seasons and double-digit touchdowns? Many believe so. Now, ask yourself, could Chicago really convince that superstar to don navy and orange? Could the allure of a rebuilding project, complete with a young quarterback desperate for a go-to weapon, be enticing enough to pry him away from a contender? Let's dig into the numbers that make this rumor impossible to ignore. In each of the past 3 seasons, our target receiver averaged north of 20 yards per reception, an eye-popping metric that dwarfed most of the top wideouts in the game. His 40-yard dash time, clocked at under 4.3 seconds, ranks among the fastest the league has ever seen. What does that translate to? Think relentless vertical threats, defenses forced to respect his deep speed, and coverage schemes shifting just to try and contain his jet-fueled bursts. Now, picture pairing that explosiveness with a quarterback who already shows a knack for precision in tight windows. Suddenly, defensive coordinators face nightmare scenarios. Do they double-team this newcomer and risk leaving our tight ends or slot receivers one-on-one? Or do they play off and pray that their safeties can close the gap in time? The chess match alone is enough to send chills down your spine. But the plot thickens. Here's where savvy front offices turn speculation into leverage. Newsweek's insiders report that the Bears have already held preliminary conversations with the players' camp, exploring a possible deal that would send shockwaves across the league. While no agreement has been signed, the very fact that serious talks are taking place suggests that someone within the organization believes this is a real possibility. Could the team's pitch, centered on offering immediate targets, highlighting the young signal caller's upside and dangling the opportunity to make history in Chicago, be the key to tipping the scales? Some execs around the league think it's a long shot, but others whisper that this receiver has expressed interest in landing where he can be the undisputed alpha. Is it possible that he's eyeing a city ready to embrace him as the cornerstone of a new era? And let's not overlook the potential ripple effects on our draft strategy. Should Chicago land this speedster, how would that shift their picks? Would they pivot away from targeting a marquee wideout, instead doubling down on pass protection or an impact weapon at tight end? Could this rumor impact the perceived value of mid-round receivers, effectively thinning out a once-deep draft class? Icy calculations aside, there's also the human element. Fans envisioning a Soldier Field electric display every Sunday, envisioning this player's signature move, an end zone salute after outrunning double coverage, becoming the rallying cry for an entire city. Make no mistake, skepticism remains, and for good reason. Salary cap challenges, the receiver's age and injury history, and the competitive market for elite playmakers all cast doubt on the feasibility of a deal. Yet, even amidst that doubt, the Bears faithful are buzzing with excitement. Every rumor carries the weight of possibility. Every clandestine meeting stokes the flame of hope. And as the season inches closer, the anticipation builds. Will that name, whispered in locker rooms and online forums, ultimately land on the Soldier Field roster? Could this summer be the turning point that propels Chicago from underdog status to legitimate contender? The answers lie just beyond the horizon, and we'll be here to break down every twist and turn. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Bears News Fan Report to stay locked in on every breaking update. Now, let's pick up the pieces and examine what it would truly look like if that explosive wide receiver, whose name we've carefully kept under wraps until now, officially landed in Chicago land. Imagine the roar as Soldier Field goes from a tough place to score to an outright launchpad for game-changing plays. Suddenly, opposing defenses can't simply stack the box against our run game or blitz freely. They have to respect the deep threat. Picture the strategic headaches for coordinators. Do they roll a safety down to double-team him, risking a seam route for our tight end? Or do they shadow him with a top corner, inviting the possibility of our young quarterback carving up the intermediate zones? The chess match becomes infinitely more complex. On paper, the financial package necessary to pry him from his current team is staggering. Reports indicate that the Bears would likely need to offer a 3 to 4 year deal, north of $30 million per season to have a realistic chance. Factor in that his age is creeping toward 30, and there's a question of whether the Bears brass is willing to mortgage future salary cap space for an elite but aging talent. Yet, consider the potential reward. A bona fide perimeter threat capable of turning 8-yard slants into 80-yard touchdowns. Could that kind of upside outweigh the fiscal gamble? Some front office insiders believe it could, envisioning a scenario in which the surge of ticket sales, merchandise revenue, and playoff buzz offsets the short-term cap strain. It's also worth exploring the ripple effects across the roster. Landing a top-tier pass catcher might force the Bears to adjust draft philosophy. Instead of using an early pick on a wideout, they might pivot to bolstering the secondary for a defense that suddenly becomes a big play magnet. Conversely, if the team fails to secure this target, that same pick could be used on a promising younger option, creating a more balanced approach but without the immediate thunderstorms of deep speed. Will the Bears risk punting on draft capital in exchange for a price tag that could hamstring free agency flexibility next year? Or will they hedge, preparing to pivot if negotiations stall? Let's not forget the human element. From the moment this rumor leaked, social media has been ablaze. Longtime season ticket holders claim they'll move heaven and earth to see this player line up in navy and orange, while casual fans suddenly feel the team is serious about contention. Could this single pursuit re-energize a fan base that has been burned by false dawns before? Some wise voices caution that hype can be a double-edged sword. If this deal falls through, the backlash could be brutal, leaving the front office to answer why they dangled a generational star only to come up short. But others argue that ambition itself signals growth. Fans want to see a team that dares to chase greatness, not one content to tread water. If you enjoyed this full breakdown, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to Bears News Fan, report, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our next exclusive update. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Bears!